Did you press the button?
Yeah, I did.
You,
I don't have to tell you shit.
yeah. Yeah, you don't. Obviously. All right.
All right. Anyways, welcome to episode 2 of Another Nightmare Podcast. I'm Danny.
I'm Brian. Welcome to episode 2.
Yay.
Sorry that we don't have an intro song yet.
Yeah, we were going to work on that, but music programs are like really complicated and we don't really want to spend
I couldn't do it.
We also don't really want to spend a shitload of money on getting an intro song
Couldn't
now.
Do it. Anyway.
But yeah, so this is why we don't have an intro right now. It's because
we'll have one.
maybe
I'm sure.
someday at some point in time.
Hopefully.
Anyways, so this is episode 2.
All right.
Really excited. I am really stoked on the feedback that we got from episode 1. It was really great. Thank you all who listened. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
For another round.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't think this would happen.
Yeah.
So Brian.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. What's up?
So you've lived in Washington your whole life.
Yeah, minus 5 months.
5 whole months.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it, though.
Oh, boy.
Not yet.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I am not a Washington native.
Loser.
So we do currently live in the Pacific Northwest. We live up in a very forgotten town in northern Washington that we don't really need to talk about it.
Dang. Pacific Northwest, baby.
But yeah, so we live in a very small town in northwestern Washington. So this story that we're about to talk about is a little bit closer to home.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So this is the Kenneth Arnold UFO sighting.
Oh, what? I'm interested. Do you
know anything?
No, I have no idea. You said UFO. I know that. Kenneth, not familiar with Kenneth. Love to get to know him, though. What?
Well, Kenneth Albert Arnold was an American aviator.
Good name.
And businessman.
I like that.
So he was born in Minnesota in 1915 and grew up in Montana.
Okay.
He started a company called Great Western Fire Control Supply in Boise, Idaho in 1940.
Okay. All right.
So this company, it sold and installed fire suppression systems. And it brought Arnold all around the entire PNW area, Pacific Northwest area.
Oh, it did good.
Yeah.
Nice.
He honestly became a skilled pilot because he was literally flying all around the Pacific Northwest trying to like sell and install these fire suppression systems that he created.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Experience on the job. I get it. All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So on June 24th, 1947, Arnold was planning on flying to an air show in Oregon.
All right. Oregon.
Yeah, he had business in Western Washington. And then after he wrapped up his business, he was like, oh, I'm going to go down to Oregon and check out this air show. Okay. Well, the trip, the way that he was flying, it required him to have a stopover in Yakima, Washington to refuel. You know, he's just got like a tiny, I don't know what type of airplane because I'm not.
You could have looked it up.
I did, but I don't know airplanes, and it was just a bunch of numbers and letters.
Well, to be honest, I would have no clue as well.
Yes. So it wasn't necessarily pertinent to the story, so.
Big word.
I'm fancy. Anyways, so on his way to Yakima, he decided that he wanted to take a small detour to look for a missing Marine Corps transport plane that had crashed somewhere near Mount Rainier.
All right.
The military was offering a $5,000 reward for the missing plane.
Shit.
So in 1947, $5,000 equals out to about $58,000 in today's money.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I would have taken that detour too.
Yeah. Oh, 58,000?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for real though. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of moolah.
But I mean, for a down transport plane,
yeah,
the military's going to be
They probably want it back.
Please give me that.
Pretty bad.
So this is when, flying near Mount Rainier, he noticed...
Mount Rainier.
He noticed a bright flash of light that he would later describe looked like sun reflecting off of a mirror.
Okay.
But it had a slight bluish tinge to it.
Run. Okay, run.
He immediately thought it was another plane, naturally.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So he started to look around.
I'm not a pilot.
But the only other thing that he saw was a DC-4. Don't know what that is. It's a different plane. Yeah. But it was about 15 miles away and behind him. So not from where the flash was coming from. And he noticed when he saw that it wasn't causing any sort of light. Like, it wasn't causing any flashing. It doesn't have, lights going off and stuff.
Okay.
So then he noticed the flashes again. This time, they were off to his left towards Mount Rainier, and he saw 9 flashes.
Oh. 9?
This was about 20 to 25 miles away from his current location.
Okay.
From where he was flying to where he estimated about 20 to 25 miles away from him. At first, he thought the reflections were maybe just caused by water droplets on his window. And he ruled this out very quickly by doing a couple of tests. He took off his sunglasses. He rocked the plane from side to side. And he did something I didn't know you could do in an airplane. He rolled down the fucking window.
well, it is the 1940s.
I know, but for real, when I read that, I was like, he did fucking what?
Just picture the guy rolling with the wheel. Just
yeah, in my fucking car with the fucking crank windows, just like it's fucking 1987 again.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, for real, though. So he quickly ruled out all of that stuff just by, a couple quick tests, thinking on his toes, being smart.
Dang. Better.
Yeah. So, these reflections were coming from other flying objects that were flying in formation.
Multiple. Oh.
So, it's 9 objects flying in formation.
Oh, that's okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So for a second, he thought it might be geese because geese fly in formation.
Yeah.
But there's a problem with that. Well, there's a couple of problems with that.
Okay.
First of all, geese don't fly at that altitude.
Right.
They don't fly that high in the air. They're also not fucking reflective.
That was the one thing I thought. I was like, geese are, they're not really bright, shiny things.
I mean, yeah, if you shine a flashlight on a goose, it's more likely to bite you than to shimmer. Geese are mean.
Childhood trauma.
For real, though. I do love the goosins, though.
Okay.
Just from a distance. He then thought that these objects might be a new jet from the military. Right?
Okay.
Might be a military test going
out.
on. But the problem was he didn't see any tail coming from these objects.
Right.
Which, in 1947, any military jet is going to have a tail. Mm-hmm. All planes in 1947 had a tail. We didn't have the high-tech technology like we do now for, these stealth fighters and shit.
Yeah.
He also would later describe these objects as flying a little erratically, quote, like the tails of a kite.
Okay, so whipping around in the air?
Yeah.
Oh.
They seem to follow the peaks and valleys of the mountain in unison, sometimes flipping, and that's what was causing the flashing light that he kept seeing, is because they would just kind of flip over as they were following these curves.
In the mountainside.
In perfect formation.
Oh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard about this before.
So later, he decided that he was going to calculate the speed of the objects by measuring how long it took them to travel between Mount Rainier and Mount Adams, which he knew was a distance of about 50 miles.
Okay.
So he timed it, and later on, when he had time, he did the math.
No.
So he calculated their speed. Okay, so in multiple places, I read two different speeds. It was either 1,200 or 1,700 miles per hour.
Okay.
An impossible speed.
That's like bullet speed.
Yeah, that's impossibly fast, especially for
God.
any aircraft in 1947. Like,
Oh, yeah.
even the Ruskies couldn't even try to claim that they had that shit.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but either way, it's 3 times faster than any aircraft known at that time. Those are some fast fucking things.
Dang, that's fast for today.
Yeah.
That's still fast for
It's a ridiculous speed. Like,
that's so fast. That's sound barrier for breaking for sure fast.
yeah, kind of creepy, right?
Yeah.
Which, actually, later on, he would describe this experience as giving him an eerie feeling.
Just pit of the stomach.
Yeah, which
Bad.
it seems to be a thing with like UFO sightings, is kind of just having an overall eerie feeling during
Definitely
the experience.
Yep. Documented.
Yay. So after the objects disappeared around Mount Adams, Arnold continued his planned route and landed in Yakima at about 4 p.m. He had made this flight a lot of times before. You know, I said that he was an experienced pilot.
Yeah.
So he had friends that were on the staff at the Yakima airport. So when he landed, he told them about what he'd seen during his flight.
Oh, you never tell.
And then he refueled and headed down to Pendleton, Oregon.
Okay, for the show.
Yeah.
All right.
But he did not know at the time that somebody from the Yakima airport called ahead to the people in Pendleton to give them a heads up about what Arnold had seen on his flight.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why they did that.
Yeah. Snitches get stitches. But yeah, so of course, when Arnold landed in Oregon, people had questions for him.
Right.
Reporters wanted to talk to him.
Oh, geez.
So he set up a meeting for the next day, June 25th. He headed to the office of East Oregonian, which was the local newspaper.
Love it.
For an interview.
Okay.
He recounted his story to the reporters, and their skepticism soon vanished. He seemed to be a reliable witness and didn't seem to exaggerate what he had experienced.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. I don't hear reporters doing that.
Yeah.
Very often.
That's the thing, like, with these, like, alien and UFO things is, like, a lot of times the newspapers are like, oh, yeah, he seemed totally crazy the whole time.
I'm sure some people did.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
You know, I'm sure. But Arnold seemed like a very level-headed guy.
Hell yeah, Arnold.
But this brings us to the main point of this, of why Arnold is so important.
Okay. Oh, I'm interested. I have been.
This interview that he does on June 25th is the source of the controversy over the exact origins of the term flying saucer.
Oh, wow. All right.
Flying saucer had never been used before to describe UFOs until this.
Holy shit. This is an origin story.
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is the story that brought us the term flying saucers.
And it's from Washington.
Yep, I knew you would love it.
Oh, that's a good one. Holy shit.
Yeah, I knew you'd love this.
I love.
So, years later, Arnold would recount that he never actually used a term like saucer or disc to describe the objects. He believed the term was either a misunderstanding or a misquote. from the reporters he talked to at the time.
So basically the reporter is the one that kind of put it in there. Okay.
But he did say, he said that the objects moved like a quote, like a saucer if you skipped it across water. So that's where the misquote or misread could have come from.
Fuck yeah, Arnold.
But there are some initial quotes from his newspaper interviews that do have him comparing their shape to a saucer, disc, pie pan, or half moon.
Okay.
It's still an ongoing debate today with ufologists.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, they
freaking ufologists.
They still debate as to whether it was a misquote or if he did in fact describe them in this way.
Give it to him.
But
come on.
Either way, this is where the term flying saucer came from.
No, I'm giving it to him. You got my vote, Arnold. Sorry.
So let's talk about UFOs for a second.
Okay.
There have been reports of UFOs as far back as human history, like forever. Yeah. According to a page that I found on Wikipedia, because fuck you, I can use Wikipedia if I want.
Oh, dang.
One of the earliest recordings of a UFO comes from the scribes of the pharaoh Thutmose III in ancient Egypt from around 1440 BCE. There are also reports that come from ancient China, India, Rome, Greece. I mean, name it, and there's probably somewhere you can find a UFO description in their history.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, there's cave drawings of UFOs and supposed aliens, and of course, there's the whole ancient astronaut theorist thing out there, and
yeah,
you can find UFOs throughout all of history.
They're a growing community.
The big decider for UFOs was World War II. It really brought on a whole new fascination in UFOs.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
This had a lot to do with the advancements in the brand new field of rocket science. You know, like they hadn't really put this much effort into making things fly before until World War II. Then it became an arms race to see who could.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, even during World War II.
Yeah.
You know, the Germans were really doing a lot to push.
Yeah.
You know, both sides had a really big push on trying to create bigger and better aircraft.
Their V-2 rocket was devastating too. It did really well.
Yeah, it did. Well, and part of the problem too was like nobody knew what the other side was working on. You know, the Allied didn't know what the Axis were working on. The Axis didn't know what.
Well, there wasn't a super big surveillance system like there is now.
Well, and even during the time, like the Allied forces didn't really know what other Allied forces were working on. Everything was really hush hush, and especially between the U.S. and Russia, because like let's face it, the U.S. never trusted the Soviet Union. Ever.
We can't.
I don't even think we trust Russia to
You
this
saw
day.
Rocky. Okay.
But from World War II, there are also tons of Allied pilots flying over Germany that saw balls of light following them.
Oh, okay.
The Foo Fighters.
Yep. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
The band, I mean.
Totally. They were there in World War II. It's a conspiracy.
Right behind them.
But yeah, we probably might talk about Foo Fighters at some point.
Well, maybe we can tie them into an episode.
Probably, because I don't know exactly how much information there is on Foo Fighters.
I'm sure you'll find out. You're the researcher. You're good at it.
I mean, I guess.
Knock it off. Back to the story.
All right. So, of course, after World War II, the Cold War started.
What? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
This was a time when America was totally obsessed with every single thing that Russia was doing.
Yep.
Oh, man, you couldn't do anything without the Ruskies being brought up.
Fear of the red.
It was just ridiculous. America really got to a point of being obsessed with the idea that Russia was creating super secret aircraft to either spy on us or destroy us in our sleep.
Well, I mean, they were.
Yeah, totally. It's in all the history books now about how much Russia
don't you know
spied on America the whole time during Cold War because, they weren't being murdered by their leaders at every second of the day. What?
Hey.
What?
Stop it.
Oh, we didn't need to bring facts into this, right?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. It was just a fairy tale land where everybody was happy
and
ate cakes. So happy.
I want cake.
So anyways, Kenneth Arnold.
My man.
Turns out his story had support from a prospector named Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson. Who's Fred Johnson?
He's a prospector. I literally just said that. Focus.
I didn't ask what he did. I said who.
He's a prospector. That's all we need to know.
All right, fine. Prospector. Prospector Fred.
Anyways, so Johnson reported a similar sighting on June 24th.
Oh.
While he was on Mount Adams.
Oh, a corroborating.
He saw 6 objects around the same time as Arnold.
Okay. He
described them as round and tapered. He also noted that they seemed to be disrupting his compass.
Oh, that's interesting.
He filed his report with the Army Air Force, who found him to be a credible witness.
2 credible witnesses, huh?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, one's just a good old prospector. What?
Prospector Fred.
Then, on July 4th, the Portland, Oregon Journal received a letter from a man named L.G. Brenier. I'm going to say.
Sounds good to me.
Close enough.
We'll call him Ludge.
We'll just call him, yeah.
LG, okay.
All right, anyways. He was from Richland, Washington. He claimed to have seen 3 strange flying objects that were flying almost edgewise towards Mount Rainier around the same time as Arnold's sighting.
Okay.
So this man saw 3 of them.
Dang.
Around the same place and the same time as Arnold. He claimed they were flying faster than a Lockheed P-38 Lightning, which I guess was a World War II era fighter craft. I don't know.
Awesome.
But the Lightning's top speed was about 440 miles per hour.
Okay.
Which that's fucking fast. But he says that these things were flying faster than that.
Dang.
Which, I mean,
if
would
the calculations are correct.
Yeah. So this man, LG, was among the first witnesses to suggest extraterrestrial origin.
Oh, okay. So he was just on it.
Yeah.
Like
he was like, these things came from space.
Hell yeah. I like that shit.
Not saying they were aliens, but they were aliens. Altogether, there were about 16 other UFO sightings reported in Washington from the same day as Arnold's sighting.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it when there's multiple.
There's a ton.
That just makes it so much more real.
There was so much to sift through, honestly.
Oh, fuck yeah.
10 days after Arnold's sighting, a United Airlines crew flying from Idaho to Seattle reported seeing 5 to 9 disc-like shaped objects that paced their plane for about 10 to 15 minutes before suddenly disappearing.
Yuck.
That's actually a thing that still happens, too. It
still gets reported on.
Yeah.
All the time. They're coming.
They're here, bitch.
Yeah, okay.
Like, let's not joke. They're already here.
Obviously, our opinions lie somewhere.
I'm not saying that we align with aliens, but we totally do.
Oh, my God. Shh.
What?
No.
Not like the government listens to podcasts. I mean, I've been researching a lot of weird shit lately. They're already watching us. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. You never delete your browser history.
So another interesting UFO sighting happened in Washington again.
Yes.
3 days prior to Arnold's sighting.
Shit. Okay.
This has become known as the Maury Island Incident.
The what?
Maury Island Incident.
Murray?
Sure. I don't know. I'm not from here.
I don't know.
Maury?
Maury?
It's an island.
Just do Maori. It's fine.
I don't know.
You guys can tell us what it is. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
I mean, I guess, yeah. We discussed this last episode. I don't know words. So both of these incidents, the Kenneth Arnold and the Maury Island incident, I found in that super cool book that we got from a good friend of ours.
Oh, yeah.
Weird Washington.
Weird Washington.
And actually, the whole weird community, they do, like, every single state has its own, like, weird whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're actually really cool source to get, like, really cool stories from, like, your local area or states that you're interested in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so to the friend who gave us this wonderful, weird book, I love you and thank you. Because it's going to give me a lot of good ideas.
Thank you.
Yay. So anyways, this other incident took place on June 21st, 1947, over the Puget Sound.
Yes, please.
Gross. I'm just kidding. I love the sound. I just don't want to swim in it because it's nasty.
Yeah, that's true.
Nasty water. So a man named Harold Dahl was working as an informal harbor patrolman looking for logs which had become a hazard on the sound.
Okay.
So around this time, there were just a bunch of logs that drifted away from the jams that were built up by the local lumber mills. So just a log would get loose and just float away, and they were becoming like a really big hazard in the Puget Sound because, you know, boats were crashing into them and shit. So
right.
Harold was one of several men who made a living by cruising around the sound and bringing these missing logs back to the mills for a salvage fee.
Okay.
So on June 21st, he was out on his boat with 2 other men, his son, and his dog. They began to approach the east shore of Maury Island around 2 p.m. This is when Harold looked up to see 6 floating objects he estimated about 2,000 feet above the water.
Okay.
He said they were reflective and donut-shaped.
All right.
He also noticed portholes and what he thought may have been an observation window.
Hell yeah.
5 of the crafts were circled around the 6th, which was descending towards the water.
Intense.
It stopped about 500 feet above the water, and Harold moved his boat to shore because he was afraid the craft was going to crash into him.
Oh.
Because it descended very quickly and then just stopped 500 feet above the water.
Okay, fun.
Once on land, he took some photos of the ships with his camera.
Oh, shit.
Then he heard a thud.
What? A thud? No, not good. Thud.
Thousands of pieces of debris dropped out of the lower craft.
What?
Into the water. They were pretty much just dumping shit into the Puget Sound.
What the fuck?
Most of it landed in the water, but some flung up on the beach and pelted his boat. And then it was either his son or one of the other men from the ship, depending on which article you're reading.
Of course.
I found it both in multiple locations.
Okay.
Was badly burned on the arm.
By what?
The falling debris.
Oh my god.
Worse than that, though.
Oh shit.
His dog was killed by a piece.
What the I don't want to continue.
I know.
This story's ruined.
I know. It's the worst. Poor innocent pooper.
Okay, all right. I've accepted it. Let's continue.
So, after it finished dumping...
Yeah. Yeah.
Our hearts go out to the pupper who died. Just too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon. Anyways, so after the craft finished,
dumping.
Yeah, after sorry. Lost my spot. So after the craft finished, it headed out west with the other 5 crafts. Harold tried to radio for help but couldn't get the radio to work. He headed back to the docks and reported to his boss, Fred Kreisman, all about what had happened. Kreisman was skeptical of the story and took the photos to be developed.
Okay.
They did show strange airships, but the negatives had spots, which he said resembled film damaged by radiation.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kreisman then went to Maury Island himself and tried to gather some rock samples. While there, one of the crafts returned and seemed to be watching him.
Sketchy.
All right.
Sketchy.
The next day, Harold reported being visited by a man in black. Oh, sorry, by a man in a black suit who invited him to breakfast. I mean, let's be real, it is a man in black.
Okay.
This is actually the first story of a man in black.
What? Another origin story? And it's in Washington? Oh my God.
Didn't you know Washington's the trailblazer for UFO?
We can stop right here. This is good. Gold. It's gold.
So while at this diner eating breakfast with the man in black,
okay,
the man warned Harold that bad things would happen to him and his family if he told anyone about what he had seen. Classic
MO.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Don't you mean MIB?
Stop. They're bad.
I mean, you know, they're bad unless it's the Will Smith version. Then they're frickin' awesome. So, about 2 weeks after Arnold's incredible sighting over Mount Rainier, the most famous UFO event of all time came to light on July 8th, 1947.
Oh, shit.
A newspaper out of Roswell, New Mexico, reported that the U.S. Army had recovered the wreckage of a flying saucer.
Oh my gosh.
Of course, later the Army would send out information claiming that what they picked up was actually a weather balloon.
Liars.
We will probably definitely, at some point in the future, cover this story.
Well, we have to, I think.
And, I mean, it's so intensely famous that, like, we're not going to go into a lot of detail here because either people already know or it's going to take a whole nother episode or 2 to cover the Roswell incident, to be honest.
To get all the info.
But speaking of the Army, this brings us So this brings us to a super uber important thing.
Okay.
The investigation.
Yes.
So the initial investigation of Arnold's story was conducted by Lieutenant Frank Brown.
Frank?
Frank.
Huh. That makes sense.
Did I say Frank? I may have, because I don't speak words correctly. But anyways, Lieutenant Frank Brown and Captain William Davidson from Hamilton Field in California.
Okay.
They spoke with Arnold on July 12th, and they concluded that, quote, "It is the present opinion of the interviewer that Mr. Arnold actually saw what he stated he saw. It is difficult to believe that a man of his character and apparent integrity would state that he saw objects and write up a report to the extent that he did if he did not see them."
Fucking yeah.
So, again, very credible witness.
Awesome.
And that's coming from the Army Air Force. Like, official men being like, nah, this guy's right.
Dang. This is amazing.
These 2 men were also the officers that investigated the Maury Island incident alongside Arnold on July 31st.
Oh, shit.
So Arnold became a UFO investigator after his sighting.
I think you would have to.
Yeah.
That's so much stuff.
So he accompanied Lieutenant Brown and Captain Davidson to interview the men from the Maury Island incident.
Okay.
Unfortunately, after the interview, Brown and Davidson were on their way back to the Hamilton field when the B-25 bomber they were on crashed at around 2 a.m. near Centralia, Washington.
Oh, fuck.
These two men technically became the first casualties of the U.S. Air Force because that day was when the U.S. Air Force split from the Army.
Oh, and actually became their own branch.
That's why they were headed back to their base, was because
Washington.
Literally that night at midnight, they split from each other, and these men crashed at 2 a.m., becoming the first casualties
on the day of
the Air Force.
That's wild.
Right?
That is wild.
So there's a lot of conspiracy surrounding their death.
Holy shit.
Due to them investigating the UFO sightings. But the Air Force investigation ruled it as a terrible accident.
Fuck. Oh, man. Well, that can't be just a coincidence. That can't be. In my mind, it can't be.
Right after they interviewed with Arnold.
Oh, man. I hope Harold's okay.
Of course Harold's okay.
He lost
his
dog,
dog's not.
Harold better be okay.
On July 9th, the Army, Air Force, and the FBI began secretly investigating the sightings, mostly from pilots and the military personnel. 3 weeks later, they concluded the saucer reports were not imaginary, nor could they be adequately explained by natural phenomena.
You got
It's a hard word.
it. Adequately.
Their only explanation was that there were actually flying ships around.
That was what the FBI and Air Force said?
Yeah.
That there was...
Actually flying ships out there.
Wow. And this was in 1947?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm kind of flabbergasted here. Dang.
I told you,
This
Kenneth
is
Arnold
awesome.
UFO incident is really important.
I had no idea. I've heard so much about Roswell, but I haven't heard about this.
This is where it all began, too. This was pre-Roswell.
Oh, man. This is so cool.
This has so many ties to so many things.
Cool.
So, this investigation by the Air Force and the FBI led down a deep path of other military investigations into the alleged sightings of saucers.
Okay. Definitely.
Yeah, this opened up a big, big door.
That's so exciting.
In September 1947,
You got it.
General Nathan Twining,
Roll with it. Just roll with
Twining, commanding officer of the Air Materiel Command, also concluded that the saucers were real and asked for a formal investigation by multiple government agencies.
What the fuck?
He straight up investigated and was like, yo, we need more people on this from multiple government agencies.
This is amazing.
This was the beginning of Project Sign in 1948. They first began investigating the idea that saucers were some type of sophisticated Soviet aircraft.
Of course. All right. Take it there. Yeah.
Their other main hypothesis was that they might actually be extraterrestrial spacecraft.
I like that one.
I think they're a little bit closer with number 2 than number 1.
Yeah.
The Soviets were having a hard time. They eventually deemed both Arnold and the prospector to be credible witnesses, but their official report concluded that the sightings were just a mirage and not actual ships.
See, this sounds like what I'm used to.
Yeah. A shared mirage at the same time by 2 separate people.
More than 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So in 1949, Project Sign was succeeded by Project Grudge.
I love the names.
right?
I love their names.
Then in 1952, Project Grudge became Project Blue Book, which is the longest running of the U.S. government's official inquiries to UFOs.
Yeah, I've actually heard a lot about Project Blue Book and a bunch of different things and stuff.
This is another connection that Kenneth Arnold brings to the table.
So really, to me, Roswell did not start it. Kenneth Arnold in Washington State started this stuff.
Yeah.
It makes the story way cooler. I'm so excited.
See, the reason why there's such a strong obsession over Roswell is because it's a juicier story.
Yeah,
because
with the crash landing and stuff.
There was so much evidence of an actual physical UFO, and then the reports that they actually found bodies in the crash.
Yeah.
And, the U.S. military came in and quickly cleaned everything up and then secreted it away all the way to fucking Ohio and hid everything, and then was like, oh no, it was just a weather balloon, guys. That's why we came in and sent like huge teams in hazmat gear to clean shit up. Wink, wink.
Totally.
Yeah.
Damn. This is way deep.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Not to talk shit on Roswell. Roswell's a cool story.
I mean, I guess.
But
I just heard a way cooler one.
I do still love the Roswell tale. It's just we'll never know what actually happened because people were scared to actually say what happened.
Yeah, that's true.
So Project Blue Book would compile more than 12,000 reports of UFO sightings and related events from 1952 to 1969.
Hell yeah.
Eventually, more than 90% of these reports were classified as identified, which means they were able to find a reasonable explanation for the sighting or the event.
Of course.
The remaining cases were left as unidentified.
All right.
So 10% of the 12,000 reports are still deemed unidentified and have no logical explanation.
So like 1,200 cases.
A lot. I'm not good at math.
It's like 1,200.
Sure.
It's 12,000. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of cases to still remain unidentified. And of course, earlier this year, the U.S. government released the tapes of being like, we have no idea what these are. Could be UFOs, could be other things. We don't know. So, Arnold became sort of a celebrity after his UFO encounter.
Damn straight he did.
And was involved in interviewing other UFO witnesses for about a decade.
Hell yeah.
He was even part of the investigation into the claims of Samuel Eaton Thompson, possibly the first contactee.
Oh, shit.
Bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum.
Arnold also wrote a book called The Coming of the Saucers and several magazine articles about his sighting and his research.
I want to read that.
You can.
I will.
Okay. Good. Do it then.
Fine.
God. Arnold grew tired of the notoriety by the 1960s and began declining interviews.
Okay, yeah.
On June 24th, 1977, however, he did attend the first International UFO Congress in Chicago.
Ooh.
He eventually died at the age of 68 in Bellevue, Washington.
Okay. Kind of young.
Yeah.
A little bit. Happens.
As for Harold and Kreisman, the FBI investigation concluded that their sighting was a hoax.
Oh, what?
The men never revealed their supposed photos during any of the investigations, and samples of the metal they collected from the site looked like slag from metal smelter.
Right.
So it just looked like regular slag material.
Okay.
The FBI told the men that if they dropped the matter, the government wouldn't press charges.
Why was the government going to press charges?
For falsifying a testimony.
Oh my God, it's that important. I forgot.
Yeah.
Fraud.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Well, they probably dropped it, huh?
Harold and Kreisman went along with it at first, releasing statements that it was in fact a hoax and refusing to do any interviews about it.
Damn.
However, in the January 1950 issue of Fate magazine, Kreisman stated that the incident had actually happened.
Good.
Arnold had never been included in the incident. Sorry. Arnold had even included the incident in his book.
Oh, okay. You're good.
I don't know why that was so hard to say.
This dude lost his dog, and they're trying to tell him that he faked the whole thing.
Well, I mean, he never showed the photos that he supposedly had. He never showed the film.
Yeah, he should have. He really should have showed
the metal that supposedly rained down on him just looked like regular slag. There was a lot of holes to his shit.
Dang. Someone got burned. They take the torch to the arm.
Most people today seem to believe that the Maury Island incident was just a hoax that got out of control.
No.
However, there are some that believe the whole thing is a conspiracy that involved UFOs or the U.S. government dumping nuclear waste into Puget Sound.
Yay.
I mean, wouldn't be surprised.
No, not really.
I just learned about the nuclear meltdown plant thingy over in eastern Washington where they literally just stuck nuclear waste in the ground.
We don't need to talk about it.
Yeah, that's a fun fucking thing.
Yay, Washington.
Washington's not the only one that's done that, though.
I know. It's just I want better.
We all do. So the people that believe the conspiracy are also generally under the belief that some shadowy government agency was responsible for sabotaging the B-25 bomber carrying Lieutenant Frank Brown and Captain William Davidson.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I mean, you know.
If they were onto some sort of conspiracy or UFOs or any of that crap, yeah, it stands to reason that they were taken out by the government.
It's not extremely far-fetched.
Yeah. And as for, Roswell and the Project Blue Book, we'll probably cover those in more detail at some point in the future.
Well, I think we have to now, for sure.
So that's the Kenneth Arnold UFO incident.
Wow, really? I had no idea about this at all. I don't know a shitload about Roswell, but at least I've heard about it. I've, read a little bit about it. I've heard nothing about this. And it's in my home state. That's amazing.
I'm so glad I was able to tell you this story.
I'm so glad I had to wait. I'm not glad. No, I wanted to know.
No, this is so awesome because this is where literally the term flying saucer comes from. This is before Roswell. This is the origin of fucking Men in Black stories.
Which Men in Black are terrifying if you know anything about them.
Yeah, we will definitely do an episode on Men in Black in the future, and they're tied to so much more than just aliens. So much. I mean, they're included in Mothman. They're included in, oh God, so much stuff. Ugh. Just saying Mothman gives me chills.
Wow, this was fun. Thanks for telling me about this.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Are you stoked to know that Washington is where the term flying saucer comes from?
Oh, I'm very ecstatic about that. I'm also really ecstatic that almost probably most of the witnesses were confirmed as credible, because that doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, and there were tons of witnesses, and honestly, I could have gone on for probably a half an hour listing off the witnesses and what they saw, where they saw it. It was all over that area near Mount Rainier, up into Seattle area, where all these witnesses were coming forward saying that, on June 25th, they saw this shit.
Oh, man. This was awesome. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I got to share it. I'm glad I got to share it with all of you as well.
Yeah, sorry. You're involved. If you like this story, please stay tuned for next week, because I'm sure we've got just another great one coming up.
Heck yeah, we're doing. Next week is actually another haunting tale.
Oh.
Because I love the haunts.
Yeah, she likes the haunts. I like the aliens.
That's right.
I hope you guys have a great week.
Yeah, and, pop on over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review and all that, because it really helps us get up in those charts, and that's where we want to be so other people can find us.
And we've posted pictures of the last episode we did, the Ancient Remin, there's pictures on Instagram. I'm sure we're going to post some pictures of this podcast on there.
Oh, heck yeah, we will.
Yeah, because everybody likes pictures. I want to see some.
Yeah. You can also follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. You can just search Another Nightmare Podcast and find us on both those platforms. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ofakya. That's OFAKYA.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.